Welcome to Sunday School Lesson at a Glance, a ministry of the Sunday School Publishing Board, where we focus on teaching, engaging, application, and learning for teachers and students.
Now, I'm going to share some teaching tips to use when teaching this week's lesson, August the 9th, entitled, Talk is Cheap. Again, our focus is on teaching, application, engagement, and learning. As teachers of God's Word, we must watch what we say and how we say it, and how we respond to our students. Sometimes we may have students that may make surprising comments or ask a question that completely catches us off guard. They may say some things that will require us to stop, listen, pray, and then respond. As emphasized in this week's lesson, yes, sometimes we have to stop and think before we respond. I have used this quote numerous times when working with teachers, and it says, "We teach some by what we say. We teach more by what we do. We teach most by what we are." Your students are watching you. You are on display. They are watching what you say, how you say it, and how you respond to situations and to them. Remember, when conversing with your students, that they may be at different levels spiritually. We can't make assumptions that our students understand what we are teaching. We must remember that students have different levels of experience and are at different levels in their spiritual growth. That is why it is so important to get to know your students and to build that relationship. Teachers, pray and ask God to help you meet your students where they are. Listen carefully to what your students are saying and to what they are not saying or what they are trying to say. Pray for God's wisdom in how to respond to your students. Now I'm going to share an engagement activity that you can use when teaching this lesson. Using the activity sheet as shown, using the words anger, listen, and respond, which are very much a part of this week's lesson, have students to give an example of a conversation that might lead to anger, or they can use a personal encounter that they may have had with someone. Some people know just the right button to push, and many times they may catch us off guard. Based on this week's lesson, have students to identify how we should listen and how we should respond. Ask for specific examples, and this will give students an opportunity to discuss and share, and this activity ties in beautifully with this week's lesson. We want the activity that we use to be meaningful and purposeful. The activity should contribute to the students being able to understand and apply the biblical truths to everyday life. So again, the activities that we choose should be purposeful, and again, should reinforce and teach the biblical truths of the lesson. Lesson application. Monitor how much you talk and how much you listen this week. Thank you for tuning in to Sunday School Lesson at a Glance. I hope these teaching tips are helpful to you as you prepare to teach and study God's Word. For additional information and resources, contact the Sunday School Publishing Board.
We invite you to join us each week as we take a glimpse into the Sunday School lesson. Subscribe now.